Hello and welcome back for another episode with your favorite Project Lead the Week teacher, Mr. Spaeth. Today we're going to be working on the analysis of our Fling machine results. So as we get started, let me share my screen with you and also put in your thumb drive so that we can get started with and save whatever we do here. On your thumb drive, what I want you to do is make a new folder. So I want you to right-click under Transcend, not in your puzzle cube folder, so I don't want you in here. I want you just right on the base, Transcend, make a new folder, right-click, go to New, Folder, and I just want you to go Homework. That'll be a great kind of catch-all folder for all the different projects that we do, kind of outside of our main projects, like the puzzle cube and as we get on our train project. Okay, so under Homework, let's now that we got that on there, let's open up Microsoft Excel. And we are going to make a project just like that we made before using statistical analysis using Excel. So I'm going to kind of whip through this a little faster than I normally would, knowing that we've already done this a couple times. Okay, so first of all, put your name up on top so when you print out, I know whose it is. We'll just call this Fling Machine Analysis. And then from here, what I'd like you to do is put down feet and inches, and then put down your 10 results. Okay, so maybe you had 10 feet, 5 inches, and then I'm just going to punch in a whole bunch of other stuff. Oops, that one's way too big. How many do I have here? Okay, I got 9 of them. I look down at my count bar. I got 9, so I just need one more yet. And then I'm just going to put some random inches to these as well. Okay, there we go. So let's pretend that these are my results. Now, what I need to do in order to do statistical analysis is get this either all into feet or all into inches. I'm going to choose to do feet. So I'm going to call this decimal feet. And let's just remember that there are 12 inches in a foot. So this first one should be real close to 10.5 feet, but it shouldn't be quite there yet. So it'll go equals our 10, and then plus our 5 divided by 12. Okay, and then we can just give that a certain number of decimal points. 2 decimal points would be just fine. Okay, then I'm just going to drag this down or double click right here, and that will give me decimal feet for the rest of my trials. Okay. Next thing I want us to do is go to Data and Data Analysis. Again, if you do not have Data Analysis or Solver, what you would do is go to File, Options, go into Add-ins, and then click Go, and then just make sure this Analysis Tool Pack is selected. So we're going to go into Data Analysis. Right here, I just want my descriptive statistics to get my mean and average, standard deviation, that sort of thing. So input range, this is my input. My output range, let's just put it all. It always changes my cursor after I click output range, so watch out for that. I need to click back over here. Output range, let's just put it right here. And then from this, I want my summary statistics. Okay, so click OK, and here we are. So I already have my mean, my median, I have my standard deviation, my range, my minimum, my maximum, all really, really good stuff. Notice there's no mode because I didn't repeat any number. So that's okay. Not having a mode, it'll just say NA in there, no big deal. Okay, from that, let's make a histogram right away. Biggest thing when making a histogram is looking at your minimum and maximum values. So it looks like I want to have a bin value that's less than 7.75, and then a bin value that goes past 20 feet. So let's start with 5 feet, and then I'll just go up by 5s until I am up to 25. So 5 nice bins. That should work out just fine. Let's label this as bins. And again, we're going to go to Data Analysis. We're going to go to Histogram. Our input range, again, is our decimal feet. Our bin range, just what we made right here. And then output range, again, once you click output range, it changes your cursor. So click back down here. And then I just always select right there. So here we go. We have our nice bins right here. If I select all of these and then go to insert a column graph, notice my x-axis is good. Other than that more column, I want to get rid of that. So I'm actually just going to select on this one and move it up. So all I did was drag. I found my little cursor on the bottom corner of that little blue box, and then I clicked and dragged it up and then let go. Okay. Then I can get rid of this frequency because I don't want that in there. We'll go to layout, axis titles, and put those in there just like we have done before. It's no big deal. So our bins are distance in decimal feet. And then my axis title here should just be frequency. And my chart title I'm just going to label as histogram of Fling machine trials in feet. All right, and then if you don't have enough room, we can just make this bigger. There we go. Now, the question becomes, for our next statistical analysis, and you guys had this question on your homework for today, is this normally looking data? Is this data normal? I would say not really, all right? But that's okay. We're actually just gonna pretend that it is. We're gonna pretend that this is normal looking data, okay? And we'll talk about why a little bit later. So hopefully, I'm either going to go through this before you guys do this analysis, or we're going to do it afterward. But I also want to put down ranges dealing with our standard deviation. So I want to put down a 68% confidence interval. And I want to put down I just copy and pasted right there, 95% confidence interval, okay? For the 68%, I'm going to have a lower bound and an upper bound. And same thing for the 95%. And then I'm just going to justify these this way so that I have room in my next cell to write whatever I want. Now, my lower bound is going to be my average, my mean. It's going to be minus 1 standard deviation. The upper bound is going to be the same thing, the mean, but it's going to be plus 1 standard deviation. So what this is telling me is that I'm confident that 68% of my Fling machine shots are going to fall between 8.12 feet and 17.87 feet. That's what this is saying. Now notice there are a couple outside of that bound. I had one right here that would be outside of that bound. And then these 3 right here would be outside of that bound as well. But notice I'm only saying that I'm saying 68% of my shots should be outside of there. So notice I had 4 of them. 1, 2, 3, 4. That means 6 of these trials were actually in that range. That's 60%. So that's pretty close. It's not going to be exact, but it's going to be really, really close, especially because we only have 10 trials. If we had more trials, it'd be even closer. Our 95% confidence interval is almost the exact same thing. However, we have our mean, instead of minus 1 standard deviation, we have 2 standard deviations. So I could do this 2 ways. I could go minus standard deviation and then again minus another standard deviation. Okay, so that would be the lower bound for the 95% confidence interval. The upper bound, just doing it a different way here, would be the mean plus, this time, 2 times the standard deviation. Same thing, okay? So you notice the bound for our 95% confidence interval is much wider than our 68%, okay? And we had no shots that fell outside of this bound. at all. In fact, I think some of you are going to have lower bounds that are negative numbers because you had such a big range. Okay, this is the analysis that I want you guys to have done. Once you have it done, please find a good way to print this off just on one sheet. So you'd go to File, Print. Make sure you're on your LaserJet 4240, and then go to No Scaling, and I want you to fit sheet on one page. And then just to make this a little bigger, I would expect you to be able to put this in landscape, and notice it's a little bit bigger for me to be able to read it. Make sure your name's on it and hand it in for your instructor, and have a great day, everybody.